the twin moons hung over Elder Grove like twin eyes watching from the heavens. One shimmered silver calm, constant, the moon of oaths. The other glowed crimson wild, volatile, the moon of desire. When they aligned every 100 years, the wolves whispered, destiny rewrote itself. Tonight, they bled together. Mist curled through the black pines. The air shimmered with magic older than any kingdom, thick with the scent of rain and danger. Somewhere in that mist, a girl ran, her breath sharp, her cloak soaked in dew and sweat. Mia Thornvale had been running for 2 days. She didn't know what she was running from anymore, only that the forest whispered her name when the wind shifted. Mia. It sighed. Marked. Her boots caught on a root, and she fell to her knees, clutching her ribs. Her pulse pounded in her ears. She looked down and saw it again. The faint mark glowing at her wrist. A crescent moon, silver and red intertwined, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. She pulled her sleeve down, trembling. Not now, she whispered. Please, not again. A howl answered her from far away, long, mournful, echoing through the woods. Not a wolf's cry of hunger. A call. Her vision blurred, the forest spinning as pain ripped through her bones. She bit her lip to stifle a scream. For a moment, the mark burned like liquid fire, then dimmed, leaving her gasping in the dirt. Mia had no idea that with that single pulse of the mark, her presence had been felt by the one person she could never hide from, the heir of the Bloodfang pack. High on the cliffs overlooking the forest, Jason Draven stood shirtless beneath the bleeding moons, his hands clenched on the stone railing. His wolf stirred beneath his skin, restless. Something was wrong. He felt it hours ago, a foreign pulse across the bond lines that connected every werewolf in Elder Grove. This one was different. Not pack. Not enemy. But powerful. Ancient. Dangerous. He closed his eyes, inhaling the night. The scent hit him like lightning. Human, but not, he murmured. Silver and ash. Blood and moonfire. His beta, Tarek, appeared beside him, breathing hard. You felt it too, didn't you? Jason's eyes, molten gold in the moonlight, flicked toward the forest. Someone has crossed into our lands. Someone marked by the blood moon. Tarek's expression hardened. That's impossible. The last blood moon mark vanished a century ago. Jason smirked, though it didn't reach his eyes. Then it's time the impossible returned. He turned toward the woods. The muscles of his back rippled as the air shimmered around him, and in a heartbeat, the man was gone. In his place, a massive black wolf leapt from the cliff, vanishing into the mist below. Mia staggered into a clearing where moonlight painted the grass in shades of red and silver. Her cloak was torn, her hair tangled, but she forced herself forward. She needed to reach before dawn, the one place said to shelter runaways, the one place her hunters couldn't follow. But she never made it that far. A growl rolled through the clearing, deep, commanding, primal. Every instinct in her body froze. Slowly, she turned. A wolf stood at the edge of the trees. Bigger than any creature she'd ever seen, its fur black as midnight, its eyes burning like twin suns. Mia's heart stuttered. Her mark pulsed again, silver and red, answering something inside the beast. The wolf stepped forward, its power filling the air like a living storm. Then, before her eyes, its body shimmered, bones cracking, fur dissolving, until a man stood where the creature had been. Tall. Bare-chested. Golden-eyed. Jason Draven. He stared at her for a long time, chest rising and falling. You shouldn't be here. Mia swallowed, backing away. Neither should you. That earned her a ghost of a smile. You're bold. Most humans run screaming. I'm not human, she whispered before she could stop herself. His gaze flicked to her wrist, and when he saw the faint glow of the moon mark, his entire expression changed. The smirk vanished. His pupils narrowed to slits. By the goddess! He breathed. You're marked. Mia pulled her sleeve down. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do. He took a slow step closer, the air humming between them. That mark hasn't appeared since the last moon bond was forged. You know what that means. She shook her head. I don't care. I just need to get to Haven Reach. In this forest, his voice turned low, dangerous. Every creature from here to the Iron Vale can smell you, Mia. That mark makes you a beacon. If I found you, others will too. Hunters. Rogues. Worse. Then stay out of my way, she snapped. Jason's hand shot out, catching her wrist before she could move. The moment their skin touched, both of them gasped. The mark on her wrist flared bright red, and silver light coiling around both their hands. A bond spark. The forest fell silent. Jason's breath came ragged. No. Mia's voice trembled. What's happening? He looked down at their joined hands, horror and something else want flickering in his eyes. You're bound. To me. They stood there for a long moment, caught between fear and something magnetic. The mark's glow slowly faded, but its echo throbbed through their veins. Mia yanked her hand free. I didn't ask for this. Jason's jaw tightened. Neither did I. Silence stretched between them, thick and charged. He exhaled, running a hand through his dark hair. You need to come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you. If you stay out here, you'll be dead before dawn. His golden eyes softened slightly. Come to my pack's territory. You'll be safe until we figure this out. She hesitated, searching his face. Despite the edge in his voice, there was something protective in his stance, something that made her chest ache with a strange, dangerous pull. Finally, she nodded. Fine. But only until I find a way to break this, whatever it is. Jason's lips curved faintly. It's called a moon bond. And trust me, no one's ever broken one. Hours later, Bloodfang territory. The Draven stronghold rose like black stone carved from night itself. Towers twisted toward the sky, torches flickering along the walls. Inside, everything smelled of smoke and pine, power and danger. Mia followed Jason through the grand hall, ignoring the stares of wolves in human form who whispered as she passed. Who is she? She's marked. The blood moon's mark, on a human. Jason's voice silenced them all. She's under my protection. That alone made several warriors exchange looks. His father, the Alpha, was away on council duty, but even in his absence, Jason's word carried weight. He led her to a chamber near the eastern wing, a room of dark stone, silver drapes, and moonlight spilling through tall windows. You can rest here, he said gruffly. You'll be safe. Mia looked around, unsure whether to thank him or punch him. And if I try to leave? His mouth twitched. You won't get far. The mark will draw me to you. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Jason leaned against the doorway, arms folded, that infuriating smirk back in place. Not even a little. You're trouble, Thornvale. And you're arrogant. His eyes glinted. You'll find that's an occupational hazard for alphas. Before she could respond, he turned and walked out, leaving her alone with the moonlight and the strange, burning echo of his touch still thrumming through her body. Later that night, Mia lay awake, the firelight flickering across her face. She couldn't sleep. The mark pulsed faintly, as if aware of the man sleeping just down the hall. She closed her eyes and saw him again, the golden eyes, the strength in his voice, the way his gaze had softened just for a heartbeat when she said her name. She hated that she noticed. Outside, the blood moon bathed the realm in scarlet light. The forest howled. The prophecy whispered again through her mind, words her mother had told her once, before the world fell apart. When red and silver intertwine, two fates shall bind, and only love stronger than blood will break the curse. Love. She almost laughed. She didn't even believe in it. Meanwhile, in the Alpha S chamber, Jason stood at the balcony, shirtless again, staring at the twin moons. The mark had appeared faintly on his own wrist, now a mirror of hers, silver-edged in crimson. He touched it, feeling the warmth beneath his skin. Every instinct screamed that this was a mistake, that letting her live, letting her stay, would change everything. And yet, when he looked into her eyes, something ancient had awakened inside him. The wolf within stirred restlessly, whispering one word over and over. Mate. Jason exhaled sharply, shaking his head. No. She's not one of us. But the bond pulsed again, warm, demanding, undeniable. He looked out at the night sky and whispered, Moon above, what have you done? Dawn crept slowly over the peaks of Elder Grove, spilling golden light through the windows of the Bloodfang stronghold. The forest outside still shimmered with traces of the crimson moon, its magic fading like an old wound. In the eastern wing, Mia sat by the tall window, wrapped in a cloak far too large for her. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw him, the man with eyes like molten gold, the wolf who looked at her as though he could see every secret she was trying to bury. She pressed her palm against her wrist. The crescent mark still glowed faintly beneath her skin, the colors of silver and red intertwined like lover's breath. Every time her heartbeat quickened, it flared brighter. And every time Jason moved somewhere in the fortress, she felt it. A strange pull beneath her ribs, like the invisible thread that now tied their souls together. She hated it. She feared it. But more than anything, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Jason Draven wasn't doing much better. He stood in the training grounds, bare-chested and drenched in sweat, his muscles coiled tight with frustration. Each swing of his sword was too sharp, too furious, scattering sparks against the steel dummies. Tarek, his beta, leaned against the fence with a knowing grin. You're not usually this tense in the morning. Trouble sleeping, Alpha? Jason shot him a glare. Don't start. Come on, Tarek said, smirking. She's all anyone's talking about. The stranger with the blood moon mark. You bring her here in the middle of the night, order half the guards to keep her safe, and expect no one to ask questions. She's under protection, Jason growled. That's all anyone needs to know. Tarek tilted his head, amused. You're Mark II, aren't you? Jason froze for half a second, and that was enough for Tarek's grin to widen. Ah. Thought so. You always did have dramatic taste. Enough, Jason snapped, his voice low and dangerous. The bond means nothing. It's an accident. A mistake. Tarek crossed his arms. Maybe. But mistakes don't make your heartbeat spike every time her name is mentioned. Jason's jaw tightened. He turned away, ignoring the sting of truth in his friend's words. But the ache in his chest didn't fade. It deepened. That evening, the council called him. The elders demanded answers about the marked stranger he'd brought home. Jason lied through clenched teeth, told them she was a lost traveler, a harmless wanderer who'd stumbled through the wards. When the meeting finally ended, he went to her room. He told himself it was just to check that she hadn't escaped. But when he opened the door, the reason dissolved. She was standing by the window, bathed in moonlight, her hair loose, her cloak gone, wearing one of the pack's soft tunics that hung just off her shoulder. She turned when she heard him, and for a moment, Jason forgot how to breathe. "Mia," he managed, his voice low. "You should be resting." Her lips curved faintly. "You should stop giving orders like you expect me to listen." He stepped closer, the faint scent of pine and storm surrounding him. "You have no idea what's out there. Half the pack doesn't trust you. Some want you gone." "And you?" she asked softly, tilting her head. "What do you want?" Jason hesitated too long. Her eyes searched his, and something flickered between them, alive and magnetic. "I want you safe," he said finally. "That's all." She took a step closer. "You don't sound convinced." He exhaled sharply, his hands flexing at his sides. The bond between them thrummed again, faint and dangerous. He could feel her heartbeat echoing in his chest, two rhythms trying to sync. When she whispered, her voice trembled just enough to sound like a challenge. "What are you afraid of, Jason?" He looked at her, really looked at her. The mark, the courage in her eyes, the way the moonlight traced her cheekbones like silver fire. He took one slow step forward, until the air between them burned. "You," he said. "I'm afraid of you." Her breath caught. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Jason turned sharply toward the door, as if stepping any closer would destroy what little restraint he had left. "Don't wander," he said, his voice rough. "The bond's unstable. If it strengthens." "What happens?" she asked. He glanced back, eyes glowing faintly gold. "Then we won't be able to stay away from each other. No matter how much we try." That night, the storm came. Wind howled across the towers, and the forest raged as if the gods themselves were restless. Mia couldn't sleep. The mark burned not with pain, but with heat, like a memory of something that hadn't happened yet. And somewhere across the hall, Jason felt it too. The bond thrummed through his veins, relentless. He could almost hear her heartbeat, taste the scent of her fear and longing on the air. It called to him like moonlight on the sea, irresistible. He rose before he could think, barefoot, bare-chested, following the pull through the corridor until he reached her door. He didn't knock. He didn't need to. She was already awake, standing by the fire. When she saw him, her eyes widened, but she didn't step back. "Jason," she whispered. The storm crashed outside. The flames flickered between them. "I can't," he started, but the words broke. "Every time I close my eyes, I feel you." Mia's voice was trembling. "It's the mark." He shook his head. "No. It's more than that." Silence stretched. Then she crossed the space between them slowly, carefully, until she was standing so close he could feel the heat of her skin. "Tell me what you feel," she said. Jason's breath hitched. "Like I'm fighting gravity." Her lips parted. The firelight danced in her eyes. The world outside blurred into nothing but thunder and heartbeat. When he reached up to brush a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingered too long, her eyes fluttered shut, and his control slipped like water through his hands. He leaned in just enough for his breath to mingle with hers. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. She didn't. Their lips met not gently, but like lightning striking dry earth. The kiss was desperate, hungry, charged with everything they tried to resist. The mark on their wrists blazed to life, spilling silver-red light across the room. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Mia's voice was a whisper. "We can't." "I know," Jason said, his forehead resting against hers. "But I can't seem to care." The storm outside broke into rain, the sound steady, rhythmic, like the pounding of two hearts trying to remember they were separate. They stood there, caught in that fragile space between right and ruin until the bond pulsed again, fiercer this time. A warning. Jason drew back, his hand trembling as he cupped her cheek. "If we give in, there's no going back. The moon mark will bind us completely." Mia swallowed hard. "And if we don't?" He met her gaze. "Then it will destroy us." The days that followed were torture. They tried to avoid each other. Tried to bury the connection beneath duty and distance. But the bond didn't weaken, it deepened. Every emotion one of them felt, the other mirrored. Fear, pain, anger, longing. When Jason fought during training, she felt the adrenaline burn through her own veins. When Mia cried in her sleep, Jason woke gasping, his chest aching with a grief he couldn't explain. The others began to notice. Whispers followed her wherever she went, the human marked by the Alpha, cursed by the blood moon, dangerous. Even Tarek grew uneasy. "You can't keep her here," he warned. "The bond's changing you." Jason ignored him until one night, when Mia vanished from her chamber. He found her at the edge of the woods, standing in the rain, staring at the sky. "Mia!" he shouted, striding toward her. "What are you doing out here?" She didn't turn. "I can't stay in there, Jason. They hate me. I can feel it." He grabbed her shoulders. "Let them. They don't matter." She looked up at him, soaked, trembling, defiant. "Don't lie to me. You're the Alpha heir. You can't afford to care about someone like me." Lightning flashed. His eyes glowed gold. "You think I have a choice?" The words hit her harder than the thunder. He stepped closer, voice dropping low. "Every time you're near, my wolf goes wild. Every time you're gone, it feels like the air's been ripped out of my lungs. I've fought wars easier than this." Mia's breath caught. "Then stop fighting." The rain fell harder. Jason's fingers traced her jaw, slow and reverent. The world blurred again, just the sound of rain, their hearts, and the mark glowing between them like a secret promise. He bent his forehead to hers, voice rough and honest. "If I give in, there's no turning back." She closed her eyes. "Then maybe we don't need to," and in that moment, as the storm roared and the moons bled light across the trees, they stopped pretending, letting the bond pull them together until there was no more space between heart and heartbeat, fate and choice. The Bloodfang stronghold had never known such silence. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. It had been 3 days since the storm, 3 days since Mia and Jason stopped pretending they could ignore the pull between them. Yet, even now, they hadn't spoken about what had happened beneath the rain. The kiss had changed everything, and neither of them knew how to move forward. In the great hall, Mia sat at the edge of the long wooden table, her fingers brushing absently over the map of the realm laid out before her. The hall was empty save for the crackling of torches and the faint echo of boots against stone. She looked up just in time to see Jason enter, his presence commanding the room without effort. He moved like shadow and fire, calm, but with the kind of energy that made her heart falter. Their eyes met across the distance, and for a moment, the world narrowed to the space between them. He stopped a few feet away, hands at his sides. "You shouldn't be here alone," he said, his tone rough but gentle. "The council will be meeting soon." Mia lifted her chin. "They're already meeting about me, aren't they?" Jason didn't answer, which was answer enough. She exhaled softly. "They think I'm a threat. They think the mark is," he said, stepping closer. "Not you." She searched his face, the lines of worry carved deeper since the bond had flared. "You don't believe them?" Jason hesitated, his eyes darkening. "I don't know what to believe anymore." The honesty in his voice struck her more deeply than any promise could have. "Last night," she said quietly, "I heard them whispering. They said the blood moon bond is cursed, that it can't exist without destroying one of the two." Jason's jaw tensed. "Old myths. Stories meant to scare children." "But it's happening, isn't it?" she pressed. "The bond, it's changing us." He didn't deny it. Couldn't he? Instead, he took another step closer, until the scent of pine and smoke filled her lungs. "I can feel everything you feel," he said, voice low. "Your heartbeat. Your fear. Your—" His gaze dropped, briefly, before flicking away. "Your pain." Mia's throat tightened. "Then you know how much this terrifies me." "Yes," he whispered. "And you still make it impossible to stay away." They stood in silence, tension stretching thin as a blade. Every flicker of torchlight painted them in shades of red and gold, shadows sliding over their faces like a promise they couldn't speak aloud. Then the doors opened. Tarek stepped in, breaking the moment like a shattered mirror. His expression was tight, unreadable. "Jason. The council wants you." Jason's jaw clenched. "Now?" Tarek nodded. His eyes flicked toward Mia briefly, not with cruelty, but pity. "They're calling for a trial. The Council of Elders." The council chamber was carved deep into the mountain, the air thick with incense and power. 7 elders sat in a crescent, their eyes glowing faintly with wolf light. Jason stood in the center, shoulders squared, every inch the heir to the bloodfang line. Mia stood behind him, her wrists trembling slightly beneath the long sleeves of her borrowed tunic. The eldest among them, Elder Corvan, spoke first. His voice was gravel and thunder. "Jason Draven, you brought into our territory a stranger marked by the blood moon. You claimed her safety, knowing what that mark signifies." Jason didn't flinch. "She was in danger. I acted as alpha in my father's absence." Corvan's eyes narrowed. "And in doing so, you risked the balance of the packs. The last blood moon bond nearly destroyed the realm. You know the stories, when red and silver meet, blood must answer blood." "She's not a threat," Jason said sharply. "She didn't choose this." "Neither did you," another elder murmured. "And yet the mark burns on both your wrists." Mia felt the air grow heavier. Every gaze in that chamber burned into her skin like judgment. Corvan turned his attention to her. "Girl, what are you?" She lifted her chin. "I don't know. I didn't ask for this mark." The elder leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "All marks are given for a reason. The moon does not choose blindly." Before Mia could answer, Jason stepped in front of her, a shield of muscle and defiance. Enough. You'll not interrogate her like she's a criminal. Corvan's mouth twisted. Then prove she isn't one. That night, the council decided, Mia would undergo the lunar trial, a ritual meant to reveal the truth behind the bond. If her mark was pure, she would live. If it wasn't, the bond would be severed. Permanently. And severing meant death for one or both. Later that night, Jason's chambers. The fire crackled low, painting the room in amber light. Jason stood by the window, staring at the rising moon, silver and red again, creeping closer to alignment. Mia stood near the door, quiet, her hands clasped tight. You didn't have to defend me. Jason turned to her, his expression unreadable. Yes, I did. Now they'll doubt you too, she said softly. You'll lose everything because of me. He stepped closer, slowly, until they were inches apart. You think I care about that? Her heart stuttered. You should. His voice softened. You don't understand, Mia. From the moment I found you, everything I thought I knew about loyalty, about control, it's falling apart. I can't breathe when you're gone. I can't think when you're near. Mia's eyes glistened. Jason. He reached out, hesitated, then brushed his fingers along her wrist, where the mark glowed faintly beneath the skin. The warmth of his touch spread through her like wildfire. It's not just a bond, he whispered. It's a pull. Something ancient. Something I can't fight anymore. She swallowed hard. Then don't. Their foreheads met, breath mingling, tension thick as the air before a storm. Every heartbeat between them spoke what words couldn't: longing, fear, need. Jason's hand slid up to cup the side of her face. If I lose control. You won't, she whispered. Not with me. The air between them trembled. When he kissed her this time, it wasn't desperation, it was surrender. Slow, deliberate, full of heat and pain and hope. Every movement was a confession, every breath, a promise they couldn't speak aloud. When they parted, she was trembling not from fear, but from the force of everything left unsaid. Stay, he murmured against her hair. Mia hesitated, then nodded once, a silent vow in the quiet of the night. The next morning, the whisper of betrayal. Mia woke to find Jason gone. Only the faint warmth on the pillow beside her said he'd been there at all. But the peace didn't last. Outside her door, two warriors whispered, voices sharp with suspicion. She's a curse, I tell you. The Alpha's heir marked by a stranger, the elders won't stand for it. They say she's the child of the eclipse witch, the one who doomed the last blood moon pair. Mia froze. The eclipse witch. The name clawed at her memory, an echo from a dream she couldn't recall fully. Before she could ask them what they meant, a hand touched her shoulder. It was Tarek. You shouldn't be out here, he said quietly, leading her back toward her chamber. The pack's restless. They'll turn on you if they think you're bringing danger. Am I? She asked, her voice cracking. Bringing danger? Tarek hesitated. I don't know. But Jason's willing to burn the world for you, and that terrifies them. He left her with that truth, and it clung to her like smoke. Night before the lunar trial. The moon hung low, red seeping through its edges. The ritual circle waited in the courtyard, runes carved into the stone, glowing faintly with ancient power. Mia stood in her cloak, staring out the window at it. Jason entered quietly, closing the door behind him. They moved the trial to dawn, he said. Corvan's pushing for it? Mia nodded faintly. Good. The sooner it's over, the sooner you'll be free. He frowned. That's not how this ends. Isn't it? She asked. If I die, the bond dies with me. You'll be safe. Jason's voice hardened. Don't you ever say that again. Mia turned toward him, eyes shimmering with tears she refused to shed. Then what am I supposed to do, Jason? Pretend this doesn't terrify me? Pretend I'm not some weapon the moon decided to tie to you? He stepped closer, his hands gripping her shoulders gently but firmly. You're not a weapon. You're mine. Her breath caught at the word, not as ownership, but as truth, spoken like a vow older than either of them. The air thickened. Her fingers curled against his chest, feeling the heat of his heartbeat beneath her palm. Jason, she whispered, her voice breaking. He silenced her with a touch, his thumb tracing her jaw, slow and reverent. No matter what happens tomorrow, he said, I'll find you. In this life or the next. Their kiss was slower this time, tender, aching, the kind that burned without consuming. When they finally pulled apart, the bond flared between them, casting faint red light on the walls. The moon mark pulsed once alive. Watching. Waiting. At dawn the trial begins. The courtyard filled with the scent of smoke and fear. The elders stood around the ritual circle, chanting in the old tongue. The sky was painted crimson. Mia stood in the center, heart pounding. Jason was forced to stand apart, surrounded by guards who barely dared meet his eyes. The elder raised a dagger of silver light. The mark reveals truth, he intoned. If her bond is false, the moon will take its due. As the blade neared her wrist, Mia closed her eyes. And the mark flared brighter than it ever had before. A shock wave of light burst outward, throwing the elders backward, shattering the runes. Jason broke free, running toward her through the chaos. When the light faded, Mia was on her knees, the mark burning silver pure, fierce, uncorrupted. Jason caught her as she fell. She's not cursed, he shouted. She's chosen. The elders looked on in stunned silence as the red of the moon faded to white. The curse lifted, the mark now one of protection, not doom. Jason's arms tightened around her, voice rough with emotion. You're safe. Mia smiled weakly, leaning against him. Told you. I'd survive. Night draped the forest in a silver hush. The moon was half-veiled, a shy witness above the canopy, its light spilling through in threads that painted the ground like silk ribbons. The scent of pine and rain hung in the air, and somewhere distant, a wolf's cry rolled through the valley, a sound both mournful and alive. Jason stood at the edge of the clearing, eyes on the horizon, the mark on his shoulder pulsing faintly beneath his shirt. The moon mark had been stirring since the night he and Mia escaped the ambush. He could feel it reacting to her. To the pull between them. He didn't know whether to be grateful or terrified. Footsteps broke through his thoughts, light, cautious ones. He didn't turn, he knew the rhythm of that heartbeat by now. Mia, he said quietly. She stopped beside him, her hair loose, moonlight catching in it like spun glass. You heard them again, didn't you? He nodded once. The Nightclaw Scouts. They're getting closer. She exhaled, eyes scanning the darkness. The trees rustled, but there was no danger yet, just the whisper of leaves and the hum of something older. Something ancient. The moon mark is warning you, she murmured, stepping closer. It reacts to danger. To strong emotion. Jason finally looked at her, really looked. Her eyes, amber in the dim light, glowed faintly wolf-like. Not full, not like his, but enough to tell him her blood wasn't as human as she believed. He took a step closer, lowering his voice. Or maybe it reacts to you. Her breath caught. Jason. He didn't finish the sentence. The tension between them didn't need words, it was written in the way their bodies leaned unconsciously toward each other, the way their breaths found rhythm, the way silence carried its own pulse. Every time you're near, he said softly, it burns. Like it's alive. She swallowed hard. That's not supposed to happen. The mark only reacts to your. She stopped herself, eyes darting away. My what? Jason's tone was quiet, dangerous. Your true mate, she whispered. The words hung between them, thick as fog. Jason's heart stuttered, then steadied into something darker. He stepped closer, the warmth of his body brushing against hers. His voice was low, rough around the edges. You think the moon mark is mistaking you for mine? Mia's lips parted, but no sound came out. Every rational thought she clung to the reasons to keep distance, the warnings whispered by the elders, all of it melted under the weight of his closeness. It's not possible, she said finally, though her voice trembled. You're bound by your pack's laws. And I'm different, he finished for her, his tone softer now. You've been different since the night I met you. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. The forest stilled, the wind holding its breath. Then Jason reached out slow, deliberate, and brushed his fingers along her jaw. It wasn't a touch of possession, but of recognition. Of something ancient stirring awake. The moon mark on his shoulder flared. Mia gasped, her pulse quickening as warmth spread across her skin. She could feel it too, a low hum, like her own heartbeat sinking to his. Jason, she whispered, if we let this happen. His thumb traced the edge of her lip, a faint smile ghosting across his face. Then we deal with it together. For a moment, she believed him. Believed that love could defy the old magic, the rival packs, the bloodlines that chained them. But somewhere beyond the trees, a howl rose closer this time. Not a warning, but a signal. Jason's head snapped toward the sound. They've found us. The spell between them shattered. In an instant, he was all motion, strength and instinct. Run to the ridge, he ordered. Stay behind me. Mia hesitated, torn between fear and the ache of what had just been interrupted. Jason. He turned, eyes glowing gold now, voice deep with the alpha's edge. Go. She ran, the forest blurring around her. Behind her, Jason's roar split the night as he shifted, bones cracking, muscles expanding, fur bursting through skin in a ripple of moonlight. He met the first attacker head on, a night claw, black-furred and snarling. The two wolves collided like storm fronts, teeth flashing, claws tearing through the air. Mia turned once, just enough to see the blur of motion, the streak of silver that was Jason, holding the line alone. Her heart clenched. She didn't stop running until the ridge broke open before her, a cliffside overlooking the valley. The moon hung low now, casting the world in ghost light. Then a hand grabbed her from behind. She gasped, spinning claws ready, but froze when she saw who it was. Adrian. The man before her was tall, dressed in the black leathers of the night claw. His eyes were the same amber as hers. Little sister, he said softly. Mia's world tilted. You're dead. Adrian's expression flickered, something like regret shadowing his features. That's what they wanted you to believe. Father sent me to find you before they do. They, she echoed. The Moon Council, he said grimly. They've seen the mark. They know it's reacting to you and they'll do anything to stop it. Her blood ran cold. Why? Because if you and Jason complete the bond, he said, eyes meeting hers, you'll awaken the true alpha bloodline, the one our world buried centuries ago. Below them, the sounds of battle faded into silence. Then came a howl, not of victory, but of pain. Mia's heart clenched. Jason. Adrian caught her arm. If you go down there, they'll kill you both. She stared at him, torn between the brother she mourned and the bond calling her back to Jason. Her voice broke as she said, then they'll have to kill me first. The forest smelled of blood and smoke. Dawn had not yet broken, but a gray light seeped through the mist, turning everything pale and hollow. Jason lay half-shifted against the roots of an ancient pine. His chest rose unevenly, claws still half-formed, silver fur streaked with crimson. The mark on his shoulder flickered like an ember struggling to live. Mia knelt beside him. Her hands trembled, not from fear but from the weight of seeing him like this, the fierce protector reduced to raw vulnerability. She pressed a damp cloth to the wound on his ribs, whispering words in a language she hadn't spoken in years. Stay with me, she murmured. Jason's eyes opened, gold bleeding into gray. You're still here. Where else would I be? He smiled faintly, though it looked painful. You could run. Mia shook her head. I already did, once. I want again. The quiet between them was heavy, not empty, but full of unspoken things. She worked in silence, fingers brushing his skin as she cleaned the cuts. He felt the heat of her touch more than the pain. Every heartbeat seemed to pull them closer, as if the world outside had faded to a single point, the space between them. He reached out, catching her wrist gently. You shouldn't look at me like that. How? Like you see more than you should. Her lips curved, sad and soft. Maybe I do. The forest exhaled around them, and for a moment the night didn't feel cruel. Mia leaned in, close enough to feel his breath against her neck, to smell the wildness that lived in him. It wasn't fear that made her heart race, it was recognition. Jason lifted his hand, tracing the curve of her cheek, his thumb brushing away a streak of dirt. You shouldn't be this close, Mia. I can't promise I'll be gentle if the wolf takes over again. Maybe I don't want gentle, she whispered. Their eyes met, a collision of hunger and ache and things they didn't dare name. The mark on his shoulder flared again, golden light spilling faintly across her skin. For a breath, it felt like the world was tilting towards something unstoppable. Then a sharp sound cracked through the stillness, the snap of a branch. Mia froze. Jason's head lifted instantly, senses sharpening. They're tracking us. Adrenaline surged through her, she packed what she could and helped him to his feet. He was still unsteady, but he forced his body to obey. They moved fast through the trees, following the river's edge where the scent of water might hide their trail. Mist rose from the surface, wrapping them in a ghostly veil. Where are we going? She asked. There's an old den beneath the ridge of echoes, Jason said. If we reach it, we can cross into neutral ground before dawn. But the council? He stopped, turning to her. You think I don't know they're waiting? The moment the moon mark reacted, they started hunting us both. I'm not running to hide, Mia. I'm running to buy time. His words were steady, but his eyes betrayed something deeper, fear, not for himself, but for her. She wanted to say 1,000 things, but the sound of pursuit cut through the air, paws pounding, the echo of snarls carried on the wind. Go! He shouted. They sprinted through the trees, hearts thundering in rhythm. Branches tore at their clothes, cold air burned in their lungs. Mia could feel the heat of Jason's presence at her side, not just his strength, but the strange, magnetic pull that had bound them since the night of the blood moon. When they broke from the forest into a clearing, figures emerged from the mist, not Nightclaw warriors, but cloaked forms bearing the insignia of the Moon Council. Jason stopped short. "We're surrounded." Mia's pulse jumped. Adrian stepped forward from among them, his expression unreadable. "Don't fight," he said quietly. "Not here." Jason's eyes narrowed. "You led them to us." Adrian didn't answer. Two council guards approached, silver chains glinting in their hands. The metal hissed faintly, spelled to burn werewolf flesh. Mia moved in front of Jason. "If you touch him, I'll..." "You'll do nothing," said a calm voice from the shadows. The crowd parted, and an older woman stepped forward, tall, with silver hair and eyes that reflected the moonlight like mirrors. "The High Seer of the Council." "Mia of the Lost Bloodline," she said, her voice cold but resonant. "And Jason of the Thorn Pack. The moon mark binds you in ways you cannot understand. Its awakening threatens the balance we've guarded for centuries." Mia stood her ground. "Then tell us the truth." The seer's gaze softened, almost pitying. "The truth is that your union could either restore the moon's blessing, or unleash its curse. The mark is not a gift, child, it's a test." Jason's jaw tightened. "And if we refuse to be tested?" The seer's lips curved slightly. "Then one of you must die before the next full moon." Silence fell like snow. Mia felt Jason's hand brush hers, not to pull her back, but to steady her. His voice was quiet, steady as steel. "Then you'll have to kill us both." Adrian's eyes flickered guilt, grief, and something else she couldn't name. The seer regarded them for a long moment, then lifted her hand. "Take them to the Hall of Bonds," she commanded. "Let the moon decide their fate." Chains glinted. Guards moved forward. Mia's heart raced as she turned to Jason, their eyes locking, 1,000 unsaid words passing between them. And beneath it all, the moon mark pulsed once, in defiance. The journey to the Hall of Bonds was silent except for the clink of chains and the crunch of frost beneath boots. The guards wore hoods that hid their faces, but the air around them shimmered faintly, old magic woven into their armor. The forest gave way to stone paths and cold moonlight that grew brighter as they climbed. At last, the trees opened to reveal the hall. It rose from the mountainside like it had been carved out of the moon itself, pillars of pale stone, a domed roof that caught the light of the stars and sent it scattering in silver fragments. Inside, the air was heavy with power. Carved runes glowed along the walls, and in the center, a pool of liquid moonlight rippled as if alive. The seer turned to them. "This is where truth is stripped bare. The Hall of Bonds recognizes only what is real." Jason's chains burned faintly, but his eyes never left Mia. "Then you'll see what's real soon enough." Mia's heart hammered as she was led beside him. The guards secured their wrists to a single stone pillar, not far enough to be apart, not close enough to touch. The symbolism wasn't lost on her. The seer's voice echoed, "The moon mark is older than any pack. It chooses pairs whose fates will change the balance of our world. If their bond is pure, the mark becomes light. If it's born of deceit, it turns to shadow and consumes them both." Mia lifted her chin. "And if we don't want either fate?" "Then the mark will decide for you," the seer said. The pool began to glow. A hum rose from the floor, low and deep, vibrating through their bones. Jason felt the heat of the mark blaze against his skin, the same ache he'd felt every time she was near, now magnified until it hurt to breathe. Mia gasped. Her own pulse seemed to mirror his. Threads of light stretched between them, faint at first, then brighter, weaving across the air like strands of silver silk. The seer watched, eyes unreadable. You feel it, don't you? That is the moon's pull. The test begins when you no longer resist it. Jason looked at Mia. Don't fight it? She hesitated, but the truth was already inside her, the pull, the bond, the sense that his heartbeat was her own. Her resistance cracked. The light around them flared. The chains dissolved. The runes on the walls flamed to life. In that moment, they weren't prisoners, they were something older, something the council couldn't fully control. Jason stepped closer, his voice rough with awe. It's responding to you, not me. No, she whispered. It's responding to us. The ground trembled, the moonlight in the pool rising like mist. Images flickered within it, visions of wolves under twin moons, a battle long past, and two figures who looked achingly familiar, bound by the same mark. Mia stared. That's us. Not us, the seer said. Your ancestors. The first to bear the mark. Their bond was broken, their defiance unleashed a curse that scattered the packs and dimmed the moon's blessing. You are their echoes. The mark seeks to finish what they could not. Jason's fists clenched. So this was never about prophecy. You're trying to use us to fix your past mistakes. The seer's gaze didn't waver. Or to stop you from repeating them. A sound broke through, a shout from the corridor. The guards turned, but too late. Adrian stormed into the chamber, his blade drawn and eyes blazing. Enough of this. He roared. You'll kill them if you keep pushing the bond. The seer's expression hardened. You forget your place, Adrian. I haven't forgotten, he said. You told me she was dead. You made me your weapon. The seer raised a hand. The runes on the walls flared again, and pain seared through Mia's chest. She cried out, clutching at the mark. Jason caught her, pulling her close as energy ripped through the room. Stop! He bellowed. You're killing her. But the seer's eyes had gone white. If the mark will not choose, we will burn it out. Adrian lunged, knocking one of the guards aside. The spell faltered. Jason moved instinctively, shielding Mia with his body. The force of the backlash shattered the runes and threw everyone to the ground. When the light dimmed, silence fell. The seer was gone. The guards lay unconscious. Only Jason, Mia, and Adrian remained, and the pool of moonlight, now calm again, reflecting their faces. Mia's breathing was shallow. Jason brushed a hand against her cheek, whispering her name. She looked up, tears glinting in the silver light. They'll come again, Adrian said. You need to leave. Both of you. Jason rose, still holding Mia close. Where? Beyond the ridge. There's a sanctuary, the old temple of the bloodline. The truth about the mark started there. Maybe it can end there. Mia nodded weakly, and Jason lifted her into his arms. As they left the hall, the moon broke through the clouds for the first time that night, bathing them both in light. The mark on their skin shimmered in unison. Adrian watched them go, guilt and hope twisting in his chest. When he turned back to the ruined hall, the seer's voice whispered through the air, thin and cold, you can't protect them forever. He looked up at the moon and whispered back, then I'll die trying. The forest had changed. The farther Jason carried Mia from the shattered hall, the quieter the world became. Snow fell in thin veils through the trees, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Every sound, the rustle of branches, the faint whisper of wind, seemed to listen. They didn't speak for a long time. Their breaths made small clouds in the night air. Jason's arms were still trembling from the battle, but he held her as if letting go might unravel something sacred. When she finally stirred, her voice was soft. "You shouldn't have stayed back for me." He glanced down at her, tired eyes filled with fierce warmth. There was never a choice. The moon mark still shimmered faintly across both of their skin, a thin silver pulse that seemed to respond to every heartbeat. When she looked at him, she felt its echo tugging at her soul. The bond between them wasn't just a mark, it was a current of energy, ancient and alive. They walked until dawn began to blush faintly on the horizon. The mountains rose ahead, black and vast. "The temple's just beyond the ridge," Jason said quietly. "Adrian said it was a sanctuary. But, do you trust him?" Mia hesitated. "He saved us back there. And before that, he nearly killed me." The truth hung between them like frost. She wanted to believe Adrian had changed, but the weight of betrayal still lingered, a shadow over everything. By mid-morning, they reached the cliffs. A stone bridge stretched before them, crumbling and ancient. Beyond it lay the temple built into the mountainside, its walls veined with moonlight. Mia stopped, staring at the structure. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Jason nodded. "It's alive. I can feel it." When they stepped onto the bridge, the wind rose suddenly, carrying with it a low, resonant hum. The mark on their skin flared again, answering something deep within the mountain. Inside the temple, the air smelled of rain and dust and old magic. Pillars carved with wolves and moons stood in a perfect circle. At the center was a single slab of white stone, smooth as glass. Jason ran his hand along one of the carvings. "This place, it feels like it's been waiting." Mia walked slowly to the center, her fingers trembling as she brushed the stone. The moment she did, a ripple of light spread outwards, and a low voice filled the hall, ancient, echoing, neither male nor female. "Blood of the moon. Heart of the lost. You carry the bond that was broken. Will you mend it, or repeat the sin?" Mia turned sharply. "Who's there?" Jason's voice was low. "It's the moon's echo. The first Alpha used to say the temple spoke only to the marked." The voice continued, "Long ago, two souls defied the balance. They swore love where power demanded obedience. Their union tore the bond between packs and cast shadow upon the moon. Now the same blood calls again." Jason met Mia's gaze. "Our ancestors. To restore the balance," the voice said, "you must either surrender your hearts, or surrender your freedom." A chill passed through Mia. "What does that mean?" Jason stepped closer, the light catching the sharp edge of his jaw. "It means we can't have both." Silence fell. Only the heartbeat of the temple pulsed around them, steady, waiting. Mia took a breath, eyes fixed on the glowing floor. "If we surrender our freedom, the packs will be bound again. And if we surrender our hearts..." Jason's voice roughened. "We break the bond and lose each other." The truth hit her like a blade. They were being forced to choose love or duty. For a long moment, neither spoke. Jason's hand found hers almost unconsciously. The spark between them was immediate, magnetic. She could feel the warmth of his skin even through the cold. "Don't you ever wish," she whispered, "we'd met in another life, one without marks or councils or bloodlines?" Jason's smile was small, broken. "Every second since I saw you." The words carried heat and ache in equal measure. They stood close enough that the world seemed to fade: the temple, the moon, the curse, until there was only them. But then, the light around the stone flared violently. The air turned cold. From the shadows at the edge of the chamber, a figure stepped forward. Adrian. He looked different, haunted, desperate, his armor streaked with silver ash. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. Jason tensed. "You led us here. I didn't know what the temple would ask of you. The council wants the bond destroyed because if it completes, it'll make you stronger than any alpha before you." "Then help us finish it," Jason said. Adrian's expression twisted. "You don't understand. If the bond seals, it will draw the moon's full light, and the curse that comes with it. You'll become part of the cycle that doomed your ancestors." Mia's pulse quickened. "There has to be another way." "There is." Adrian looked at her, eyes full of regret. "One of you can take the curse alone and free the other." The temple shuddered, the light growing fierce. The choice was being forced upon them. Jason's hand tightened around hers. "No. We do this together." Mia shook her head. "Jason." But he stepped forward, his mark glowing brighter, silver veins running up his arm. "If this is the price for you to live free, I'll pay it." She grabbed his wrist. "I won't let you." Their eyes locked, and for a moment, everything else, the curse, the temple, even fate itself, seemed to hold its breath. The moonlight around them deepened, flooding the chamber in pure silver. It wrapped them both, the light twisting and folding until it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. "So it is," the voice of the moon intoned. "The bond chooses not power, not freedom, but love." Adrian fell to his knees as the energy surged. The temple cracked with light. Jason pulled Mia against him as the glow became blinding. Then, silence. When the light faded, they were standing alone in the center of the temple. The mark on their skin had changed, it no longer burned. It pulsed gently, warm and alive. Jason exhaled slowly. "You're okay?" Mia nodded. "I think we're free." Adrian rose unsteadily. His eyes softened when he saw them. "The curse is broken. The moon chose mercy." Outside, dawn broke fully, painting the mountains in gold. For the first time since the bond had marked them, they could breathe without pain. Jason took Mia's hand again, brushing his thumb over the mark. "Guess we rewrote destiny." She smiled faintly. "Together." As they walked out of the temple, the moon faded into the brightening sky, and the bond that once bound them now hummed quietly between their hearts, no longer a chain, but a promise.